At place number 5 we have, and I'm not trolling, the machine items. So this dungeon is designed to be a meme. You get disconnected as a joke and you fight the servers. It got released for April Fool's Day, and the items are just silly. Like look at this one where you can place a white bag on your cursor to troll your friends. Or this one where it gives you the longest invisibility time in the game, but it makes a decoy follow you, making the invisibility almost pointless. So many assume that because this dungeon is a joke, that the items are also a joke. Not so fast. There's some items that range from having niche usage to just being too good for dropping from a Godlands dungeon. Firstly, the helmet from the dungeon called the Challenger Helm might sound amazing by name, but the effects might not impress you. For 50 mana, it gives you self-dazed and slowed for 5 seconds. How can this ever be usable? Well, in the Moonlight Village, being slow makes the dungeon a lot easier, since it's all about micro-dodging, and that goes for other endgame dungeons. But in the Moonlight Village, you can never have enough self-slowing. It does self-daze though, which kinda sucks for when you want to increase your loot chance by shooting the boss and doing more damage, but its lantern phases that are harder anyway, and this is where this comes in handy. This can make yellow, pink, and even Umi lantern phases a lot easier, not including the finales of course since you're silenced. Another ability that is even more useful from the machine is called the Archerang. Now this quiver looks silly, but the reason why it comes in handy is that it can be a reliable slow. Ever since tiered quivers lost their slowing effect, there's only a handful of quivers left in the game that can apply this strong debuff. Slowing is really strong because many endgame enemies are not immune, unlike Paralyzed. The only actually good slowing item in the game left for Archer is the Behemoth Quiver, but that's an event wipe. The only other ones are the Quiver of Shrieking Spectres from the Cursed Library, the Quiver from the High-Tech Terror, and the Embellished Quiver from the Ancient Ruins, which are all either a bit tough to use or hard to get. And they're all quite expensive for what they do, being all in around 100 mana cost to use, when the Archerang is only 75 mana, and it's really easy to apply. So having this as a swap out slow is a surprisingly good option. Now more recently, 6 new items got added to the machine, which are all weird, 4 of them being because they just suck and look dumb, but the other 2 are just too powerful for how accessible they are. The Fabulous Flail being the first one I'll talk about is a sword that rivals the tier 14 in damage, which is crazy if you think about it because the tier 14 weapons can only drop from Oryx Free, Umi, and the last boss of the Shadows. However, hitting with this sword is a bit annoying since it does have a slow projectile speed and it does split into 2 shots. A much better weapon than this that drops from the machine is the Blade of Blooming. This weapon seems really stupid and unusable since its fire rate is at 10%, but as long as you're not using it to clear many different minions, it actually is really underrated. The damage of this katana actually does the same as tier 14 and scales better since it does more damage per hit. On top of this, it actually outranges the tier 14 katana, so it's really good for killing bosses. You just don't want to leave your order fire on in case your shots get eaten by the boss's invincibility, which will make you rage. Another step up from this weapon, the best item by far from this dungeon is the Groovy Mango, which for some reason does 20% more damage than the tier 14 dagger, with about 10% more range. There's really not much I can say about this dagger. It shoots straight, it doesn't do anything too dumb except for shoot these silly mango sprites. The only comparable difference to tiered is that it does slightly shoot slower, which makes it scale even better than the tier 14. It's just too crazy. Did I mention that all of these items are tradable?